Hey man, now y'all can see by the title, we back with another video. Not only back with another video, we're back with a. Actually, we're not back with another Alan Watts reaction. This is my first time ever in history tapping into his videos, seeing what his videos are like. But this came across my recommended page, and as y'all know, if y'all new to this channel that y'all don't know, we are open to information. We are open to seeing things. We are open to exploring, you know what I'm saying? And I just want to explore. I just want to see what was going on. Obviously, 169,000 people liked this video and it came out 7 days ago. So why can't I be one to open my ears and see what this video is talking about? Now today is literally August 1st. It's literally the first of the month. So today I just want to say have a great, amazing month. Have a blessed month, a month filled with happiness, a month filled with blessings, a month filled with believing, a month filled with joy, peace, prosperity, faith. This is gonna be one of your best months. You're gonna get so much money. Your money flow is just gonna be flowing like it's never flowed before. Your body is gonna be super healthy and strong, and your faith is just gonna be there this month. Don't have no regrets. Just go with the flow and have a great, amazing day. But I do want to see what this video is talking about. It says God doesn't exist the way you think. Now we finna get straight into this video. If y'all can like, comment, subscribe, please, please. I'm not asking for too much, please.
I've been talking about the perception of the world coming suddenly out of nothing. You'll remember that in a previous talk, I asked you to close your eyes and listen. And you would hear silence and then sounds coming right out of that silence. And then I suggested that you use your eyes and see light, shape, form, coming at you as a vibration that is proceeding out of space.
Bro, y'all ever close y'all eyes? My bad for pausing it, but y'all be seeing like green and purple stuff in y'all eye. Like it's not in your eye, but your eyes are genuinely closed. And it's just like a ball that forms into one, and then it just goes away somehow, and then it comes back. But I ain't gonna lie, I can't be the only one that be seeing shit when I close my eyes.
And I pointed out that our logic resists that because we say you can't get something out of nothing. And that we normally think of all the energetic manifestations of this universe as coming out of the past. We think the things that were there already are producing the things that are going on now. But I was trying to get you to look at it in the other way, so that you would see the whole world starting now instead of in the past, and the past as a kind of echo, fading away into memory, and I illustrated it as being like the wake of a ship that trails across the water and then fades out. But the wake is started by the ship in the present. And so in the same way, I'm moving on to the uncommonsensical idea of the world as a production of energy that is beginning right now and is coming out of the nothing that we variously call space and silence. But then, naturally, this raises the question, how on earth could that happen? And it has been, of course, the usual explanation that the world is being created by God. In Christian and Catholic theology, it is said that God creates the world out of nothing. And I want to emphasize the point, in all fairness to Catholic and to Islamic and to Jewish doctrine, that it doesn't.
The world is created from nothing, but we turn nothing into something. He's on to something. He's on to something, literally.
Merely teach that God once upon a time started the world and set it going like you would wind up a machine and then leave it alone. All these three religions teach that God is always creating the world out of nothing now and willing it by his divine energy into being at this moment. But now the difficulty for us all, I think, especially for educated people in the modern world, is that the old-fashioned idea of God has become incredible or implausible.
Yeah.
That is to say, in church or in synagogue,
And social media, because this video looks mighty old. It's not like if it was bad around this time where they pushed the real meaning, that not even to push the real meaning. They just twist it. It's so many twists and turns, misconceptions. Everything is not even fact checked no more, bro. It's so hard to even understand what's real or what's not, or what's true or what's false anymore. Only because we live in a world where everything is going on. Everybody got something to say, and it's not even that. Even AI, you feel me? It's people out here that can't even tell an AI video is an AI video anymore. It's like, how do we even understand anymore? You feel me? It's so mixed up. The whole world is so mixed up, literally.
is that the old-fashioned idea of God has become incredible or implausible. That is to say, in church or in synagogue, we seem to be addressing a royal personage. The layout of a church or of a synagogue looks like a royal court. There is some sort of throne, and we address prayers and requests to the being represented by the altar or the throne or the tabernacle, as if that being were a king and were causing this universe in his royal, omnipotent, and omniscient wisdom. But then when we take a look through our telescopes and microscopes, or even when we go out in the forest and look at nature, we have a problem. Because the idea of God that we get from the Holy Scriptures, the Bible, the Quran, doesn't quite seem to fit the sort of world around us that we see.
Amen.
In just the same way as you wouldn't dream of ascribing a composition by Stravinsky to Bach. The style of God venerated in church, mosque, and synagogue seems completely different from the style of the natural universe.
And that's one thing about this world, bro. I don't understand how, and I'm a believer, bro. I don't understand how us believers, we are so focused on earthly things. I've never went to a church and they talked about worldly things, like go outside, go get to know the world. They never talk about get to know the world, bro. If God created this, why do we want to get to know each other as humans when we need to get to know the world, gang? We don't know ourselves, even that. We don't even know ourselves, gang. For real. My bad for my talking. My bad. I'm sorry. I just came from doing my music reaction, so my mind is kind of fried. So I might be talking like how we're talking about music reactions. Let me rephrase this. We don't explore. We sit and talk about problems. We say these prayers and stuff that's gonna fix our problems in the earthly things, but we don't really even look at the earth. You know what I'm saying? We don't talk about the earth. We go to church. Well, I got a real genuine question. For instance, the food we eat at church, the food, because they have Sunday services, or you can get food from church and they call it soul food and stuff like that. Why do we do that if we know we're gonna spend this much money on food and we all have to spend, we gotta continue to spend money. We give money to church and stuff like this. It's all around that. But why don't we go to a church? Churches is probably one of the places where they have so much free space, land. Churches, if you look at a church, they always got a big yard of grass, a big fat yard of grass. Why don't we come together and plant, get chickens, start a farm on this church, get earth, bring the world to life, you feel me? Instead, we go to the store and feed into the system, feed into the market. Why is there 200 people at church, 300, 400 people at church donating they last $5, they last $10, $15 instead of putting it to the world? Where we can easily all go to church. We all work together as humans as family, as brothers and sisters, work together, build a farm, build crops, just do things that can better us. We're not doing nothing but bettering the system. We better the system. We don't better ourselves. That's what's wrong with this world, bro. We better the system. We feed into the system instead of bettering ourselves, gang. Literally, for real.
A composition by Stravinsky.
Do y'all get what I'm saying?
To Bach. The style of God venerated in church, mosque, and synagogue seems completely different from the style of the natural universe. And it's so hard to conceive the author of the one as the author of the other. And furthermore, it strikes most intelligent people that our traditional religious ideas of God are too primitive. It seems impossible to think that this universe could have been authored by the naive idea of God as a sort of old gentleman who lives far above the stars in heaven, seated on a golden throne and adored by legions of angels. That seems a concept almost unworthy of the sort of universe that modern science has revealed to us. In other words, I mean, here's a picture of God. A friend of mine, Richard Borst, photographed this in a church just south of Oaxaca in Mexico. And it shows a very primitive Indian Catholic imagination of God the Father wearing a triple crown like the Pope, only he's rather young and handsome. He's not quite the old gray-bearded man, the Ancient of Days, but there is a serious idol, Christian idol of God the Father Almighty. That has become implausible. But also for many people it has become implausible that the root of the universe, which the theologian Paul Tillich calls the ground of being, that the root of the universe can be in some way a person to whom we can relate in just the same way that we relate to other people, and furthermore, a person who cares about us. In the words of Jesus, 5 sparrows are sold for a farthing, but yet not one of them falls to the ground without the Father knowing it. So realize that you are of more value than many sparrows. In other words, God cares a great deal more about you. But it just baffles our imagination that there could be this sort of person who cares about each one of us, who is totally aware of every single thing that we are and that we do, and by virtue of being aware of us, creates us.
And I think one thing that steers us away from the universe is the churches and the religion, bro. Jesus would literally say in the Bible, like, even if you read the Bible, he would say the religion pushes us away from the actual truth. You know what I'm saying? The religion literally pushes us away from the actual truth. The world literally just pushes us away from the actual truth. And then it's the state that a lot of people can't get into that spiritual side of them. The Bible teaches spirituality, literally. A lot of people don't, like, we read the Bible and we practice the Bible, but we don't practice our spiritual lifestyle. Literally. We are all a creation. We are the Creator's creation. We are all energy, balls of energy. This literally, my body is filled with energy. You feel sick, your energy's low, your body's straight energy. So I don't know, bro. Sometimes I just don't understand. It's just, I don't know. A lot of people aren't open. We have to be open and understanding too.
More about you. But it just baffles our imagination that there could be this sort of person
who cares about us,
every single thing that we are and that we do, and by virtue of being aware of us, creates us. Of course, one thing that is difficult about the idea is that it's embarrassing. We do not feel comfortable if we are watched all the time by an infinitely intelligent judge. You know how it is in school when you're a child and you're working at some exercise and the teacher walks behind your desk and looks what you're doing. Now, even if you like the teacher very much, you feel put off by being watched. And it makes you self-conscious and awkward. And so in the same way, many people opt for atheism because they don't want that uncomfortable feeling that they're being watched all the time. It's awkward. And if I were God, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't want to embarrass my creatures in that way. And so I would leave them alone for a lot of the time. In fact, I've often thought about this whole thing. The kind of God that people worship is, of course, an attempt to imagine an absolutely perfect human being. But it's a very poor attempt. For example, Jesus taught that if somebody sins against you, you forgive him. And his disciples asked, well, how many times do you forgive him? And he said 99 times, which is our way of saying umpteen times. Always forgive somebody who sins against you. But notice that that is required of a saint. A saint is always forgiving, but it's not required of God. God will not forgive you unless you apologize. And you have to grovel on the ground.
You always have to repent. Repentance is the same as apologizing, knowing you was wrong for your situation and coming to God and letting him know that this is not you, this is not how you define yourself. Yes, you mess up, you're not perfect, and you're sorry for what you've done. But we always supposed to forgive others. I've never understood that. 90 of 9 times, 100 times, every time, 100%, you're always supposed to forgive others. I've never understood that, but we have to repent to God. But others aren't God though, you know what I'm saying? Who's to say we aren't gods though? Who's to say we aren't gods, bro? Because the kingdom is within. The kingdom is within. It's here. It's in us. So who's to say that?
Who sins against you. But notice that that is required of a saint. A saint is always forgiving, but it's not required of God. God will not forgive you unless you apologize. And you have to grovel on the ground if you've committed what the Catholic Church calls a mortal sin. You've got to come to God in a state of great penitence, and if you don't do that, you are liable to be confined in the dungeons of the court of heaven, commonly known as hell, for always and always and always. Now, I don't think that's a very nice kind of fellow. I mean, you wouldn't invite that sort of God to dinner.
No.
Because he would embarrass everybody. Everybody would be sitting on the edge of their chair, you know, feeling like this. And God would be looking at you in such a way that you felt you were being seen through and through, that all your awful past, all your falseness and lack of authenticity would be completely perceptible to him. And though he understood it, and though he forgave it, he would nevertheless make you feel absolutely terrible. Well, you just wouldn't want that sort of company at dinner. You may think it's frivolous of me to say this, but don't forget that the pictorial image of God that people have in the backs of their minds, even if you're a very sophisticated philosopher or theologian, that primitive pictorial image has a very strong influence on your feelings about religion, about the universe, and about yourself.
Literally.
So it's just for that reason.
It's all a conscious thing, a mind thing, a thought in the mind. After you, like, once you get that thought to sin and then you sin, you're sitting in that thought like, oh, I should never done this. I feel bad. I can't even go talk to God about this. Some people can go talk to God about it, but it's all about the mind, bro. If you can, That's why I do think it's a universal thing, and not even just a universal thing. It's a us thing too, because we're part of the universe. Everything on this earth is part of the universe, regardless. It's a universal thing, bro. In science, you go to science, they teach you about the universe. You know what I'm saying? They didn't teach you about God. They taught you about the universe. You know what I'm saying? It's all a universal thing. But how do you? My thing is, I feel like I know about this, but how do you just free that mind from worries and being so caught up in the negative thoughts and the negative things that go on? Like, if everything is energy, we run off energy, and I don't want to keep thinking of these negative things, because then my energy is going to get low. But how do you clear that mind, control that mind to where it just doesn't happen? Y'all probably think I'm crazy, but we all get these negative thoughts. There's no way you can defeat the negative thoughts. And for the people that have defeated them negative thoughts, them negative feelings, teaching me, because I'm learning. I'm trying. I try and speak positive. I'm trying to speak life. It's not even trying. I am. I do speak life. I do speak positive. I do speak happiness. You know what I'm saying? And when I'm not even speaking in my head, I try and say, I'm at peace. I'm good. I'm happy. And nothing's wrong with me. Something great is about to happen. Something good already happened. I always repeat good things in my head so I can run off good energy. But somehow the negative thoughts still come back to my mind. Why? How? Who's doing this to me? Who's doing this?
Sophisticated philosopher or theologian. That primitive pictorial image has a very strong influence on your feelings about religion, about the universe, and about yourself. So it's just for that reason that the traditional idea of God has become implausible to many people, and that modern Protestant theologians and even some Catholics have been talking recently about the death of God and about the possibility of whether we could have a religionless religion. That is to say, a religion which does not involve belief in God.
Oh!
What, in other words, would become of the gospel of Jesus Christ, if it were shown that Jesus' own belief in God were unnecessary and invalid? What would remain of his teaching, of his ideas about caring for other human beings, about social responsibility, and so on and so forth, if the idea of God simply evaporated? Now, I think that's a pretty wishy-washy kind of religion. I mean, if you're going to say that this life is fundamentally nothing but a pilgrimage from the maternity ward to the crematorium, and that's it, baby, you've had it, I think that indicates a singular lack of imagination.
Dang.
I would like to look at the death of God theology in an entirely different way. I would like to say that what is dead is not God, but an idea of God. A particular conception of God has died in the sense of becoming implausible. And I find this a very good thing. Because, well, it's a principle of Jewish theology and later of Christian theology that it is always a mistake, even a sin, if you want to call it that. And I want to interpolate something here as to the exact meaning of a sin. The Greek word in the New Testament for a sin is amatanin, and that means to miss the point, or as in archery, to miss the mark.
See, you can't even read the Bible just reading it. You have to literally deep dive, like it's a dictionary you gotta read. It's so much you have to read. You can't just read the Bible and just say, okay, I got it all understood. Because some of the words in there don't even mean what it means today. You have to do and find the real meaning behind these words. I did not know that. I thought sin was just to do something bad, or just to just to feed into the negative things, do something that you wouldn't usually catch yourself doing. You know what I'm saying? But this shit, stop cussing. Every time I cuss, I gotta pop myself because I'm trying to free. I'm not perfect. I'm sorry, I'm not perfect, And I'm not here to be the best version of myself for y'all. I'm trying to be the best version of myself for me. So I'm going to grow and I'm going to learn. So please just bear with me. I'm sorry for all the curse. I'm sorry. He has not said one curse word at all. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to be better. You feel me? That's it. I'm not perfect.
As to the exact meaning of a sin.
But I thought sin was just like just doing something you know you're not supposed to do, knowing right from wrong, basically. And the wrong is the sin.
The Greek word in the New Testament for a sin is amatanin, and that means to miss the point. Or as
but
in
it
art,
means to miss the point. Sinning is to miss the point. The whole world is sinning. About 98% of it, 99% of it is missing the point. We all missing the point. Keep breaking this down, Alan.
to miss the mark. And therefore, from the Mosaic Ten Commandments comes the idea that it is a sin, that is to say, a missing of the point, to substitute an idol for God.
A missing of the point to substitute an idol for God. And the Bible literally says don't even idolize. That's the craziest thing.
Now, the picture I just showed you, as I said, is an idol. But those primitive Mexicans, even they don't seriously confuse that particular image with God. The danger of it is, of course, is they may think of God as something like that in their mind's eye. They may think of God in the form of man.
And why do we do that? Did y'all not see? God literally said he made human from dust. Bro, holy, y'all don't think if God made human from dust that this is we're fighting a universal spiritual war, bro. It's universal. If a man, how do we read the Bible and just think like, nah, this man is created from dust, and then Eve got taken out of his rib and she got made? How? Can't no human do that? Why do we look at God as a human? Can't no human do that? How can a human, and we can make these pictures, we got all these pictures of what he looks like, but how did a human do that? Or a man-made figure? Like, I know he sent Jesus on earth to be human-like, but how did God make a man from like that dust of his hands? What? We got to start seeing the bigger picture.
With God. The danger of it is, of course, is they may think of God as something like that in their mind's eye. They may think of God in the form of man. But the images that have been made of God or of the gods out of wood and stone and in painting have...
Oh my. All these imageries we be having of the world, somehow those are real pictures, but we don't have a real picture of God.
Never really been taken seriously as actually what God is like, and nobody has confused the actual image, say, of a Buddha, such as you saw at the beginning of this program. Buddha is of course never identified with a god, because Buddha is a human being. But these images are never seriously confused with what they represent, any more than a Catholic confuses a crucifix with Jesus Christ. So the images that are pictures, statues, and so forth, are not really very dangerous. The dangerous images of God are those that we make not out of wood and stone, but out of ideas and concepts. You see, an idea is abstract. So St. Thomas Aquinas, for example, defined God as necessary being. He who is necessarily. Now that is a philosophical concept. God is being. But that concept is an idol, because it confuses God with an idea, and because an idea is abstract, it seems something very much more spiritual than an image made of wood or stone. And that's just precisely where it becomes deceptive.
We can help you lift your burdens.
So am I missing the point? Don't be spiritual? Wait. He's a genius, man. And I can't wait until, like, this is just day one. When I'm on day 30, we all gonna see my difference, you know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna see the growth, y'all gonna see the expansion in my mind, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm learning as we speak. I wish I had my journal with me so I could write down some of these words he's saying, because some of them I don't understand them, but they're kind of making sense as he continues the sentences, you know what I'm trying to say? But he's a genius, man. And shout out to y'all for clicking this video and opening up y'all minds, because we just here to learn and better ourselves and better our vision, you feel me? We're not really getting advice, we're getting information. And a lot of us, that's why I say if you're new to this page, I don't give advice. I get information, I give information. That's up to you to do what you want to do with the information. But we don't give advice. I'm not telling you what to do or how to do anything. It's on you. You're your own person. You have to understand what you got going on. You know what I'm saying? This is just information. It's what you want to take with it. And I'm taking his information. I like his information. I like it. I'm learning. I'm learning.
Likewise, many people think that the Bible is the authentic Word of God, and therefore they worship the Bible and make it into an idol, disregarding the ironical remark of Jesus to his contemporary Jews, "You search the Scriptures daily, for in them you think you have life." And as St. Paul said later, the letter kills, but the Spirit gives life. And so whatever you put as an image or an idea in the place of God necessarily falsifies God. Now, a lot of people say, I don't think I could face in life. I don't think I could face life unless I could believe in a just and loving God. It strikes me that that kind of belief in God is actually a lack of faith.
He's not even just talking, because if somebody told you stop looking at these images of God, but the thing is, here's my thing, because I know and this is where people get beliefs and they strongly believe them, because we live in a world where people will literally say they see the image of God that they, and I'm not saying they don't see God, but a lot of people say they see God, that image, the Jesus picture when he got crucified, they see him. They're like, no, Jesus literally came to me. God came to me. I've seen his face before. There's people that say they have seen him, they dreamed him, he was in the same room as him, they felt him. You can feel him, of course, but some people believe, and I'm not saying their beliefs is wrong. Some people fall into what other people see. You know what I'm saying? We on social media. Say if somebody on social media say, yo, I just seen God. A lot of people on this earth are going to believe that. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy, bro. It's just we just have too much, bro. That's the thing, bro. We have too much. That's it, bro. It's too much that we have. It's too much technology. It's too much worries. It's too much of everything. And if you have too much, it's too much going on up here. So it's too much of everything, too much of thinking, too much of this, that, and the third. And we never, I don't know, bro. It's just so much.
I don't think I could face in life. I don't think I could face life unless I could believe in a just and loving God. It strikes me that that kind of belief in God is actually a lack of faith. You see, the word belief in Anglo-Saxon comes from this Anglo-Saxon root leaf. I would as lief. And lief means to wish. So belief really means a strong wish. When you get up and say the...
I did not know this. Belief means a strong wish. Bro, I'm finna start tearing up, gang. Because I feel like this video was meant for me, bro. Because I believe a lot of this. But it's not even about believing. If you believe, you just know it's going to happen. And that just all makes sense. You wish for something, you know you're gonna get it. Like not literally, no, literally, but not. You're not just gonna get it. But if you watch the movie 17 Wishes, anything about a wish, I wish you make wishes on your birthday, like all these things. But if you strongly believe something, you know it's gonna happen. It's like granting a wish. You feel me? It's literally like granting a wish. If you believe something and you know it's going to happen, it's already happened. It's a strong belief. But if you grant a wish, you know it. Like for instance, Fairy Odd Parents. When he granted something, he knew for a fact it was coming. Just like if you believe and you strongly believe it, it's dang near the same thing. You feel me? You know it's gonna come. The only thing about granting a wish, and when we see in movies and stuff, it just came immediately. It was there immediately, and it was there right then and there. So that's why I feel like a lot of people don't believe because it. Oh, I just cooked. I feel like a lot of people don't believe because it doesn't happen at the exact moment, and it's not there at that exact moment. A lot of people think God's timing and there is their timing. A lot of people think everything is on their timing. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's your timing, but everything in this world is not on your timing.
Leaf, and leaf means to wish.
I didn't know that though.
So belief really means a strong wish. When you get up and say the creed, I believe in God the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth and of all things visible and invisible, you are really saying, I fervently wish that there exists a God the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, etc. Because if you really have faith, you don't need belief. Because faith is an entirely different attitude from belief. Faith is a state of openness or trust. To have faith is, for example, like when you swim, you trust yourself to the water. You don't grab hold of the water when you swim. And if you go stiff and tight in the water and try to catch hold of it, you'll sink. You have to relax. So in the same way, when a cat falls off a tree, the cat doesn't go stiff all over in a state of tension, that is to say, a state of holding on. The cat relaxes. It falls heavily, thumps the ground with its tail, and isn't hurt because it relaxed. So the attitude of faith is the very opposite of clinging, of holding on. So that you could say that a person who is a fanatic in religion, who simply has to believe in certain propositions about the nature of God and the nature of the universe, is a person who has no faith at all, because he's holding on tight. And so when we sing hymns like Rock of Ages, cleft for me, let me hide myself in thee, these aren't hymns of faith. Or even Luther made such a thing about faith. But he wrote a hymn in German, Ein fester Burg ist unser Gott, a mighty fortress is our God. That's not a hymn of faith. A person of faith doesn't need a fortress.
Dang.
He's not on the defensive, and so in the same way, when churches are designed like the royal courts of kings, you know, in the royal court, the king sits with his back to the wall, which is the position, or used to be the position of the altar. And around him, he would have his courtiers and guards. And their place, of course, in the church design called a basilica, which means the court of a basileus, a king. The bishop sits at the back in his throne, and all his attendant clergy stand around him like his guards in a royal court. Well, why is this? A king stands with his back to the wall because he rules by force. And when his subjects and his courtiers approach him, they prostrate themselves, they kneel down. Why? Because that's a difficult position from which to start a fight. And so, are we projecting the image of a frightened king upon the ground of being the Godhead? We are, you see. Or in a Protestant church, the furniture all looks like a courthouse. The minister wears a black gown, and it's the same black gown as is worn by a judge. And there are pews and pulpits and all the familiar wooden boxes of court furniture. And the minister, like the judge, throws the book at you. He preaches the law laid down in that other idol of God, the Bible. But does God need all that? I mean, is God somebody who takes this aggressive attitude, either of the king in the court where all the subjects must prostrate, or of the judge who bangs the gavel and says, "Baw, baw, 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 baw"? Well, this is ridiculous. And a God so conceived is an idol and manifests the absence of faith of all those who worship him, because they have no attitude of trust. They cling on to these rules, to these conceptions, and have no fundamental give to life. Now,
because the thing is, this is where I feel like life itself plays its part. It's tied in from family, generations is passed down, and then even as a kid, you grow up, you go to church, you take in what your family has given you. They take you to church and stuff like that. Okay, you start hitting the stage of 16, 17, 18. You stop going to church a little bit. You stop worrying about church. It's no longer family, it's within you. You start just enjoying life now. And I feel like middle school and high school is where you start having real life. You stay away from all the stuff, you feel me? I ain't gonna say real life. You just start enjoying your own life. Not even real life. You start worrying about your own life. You know what I'm saying? 16, 17, 18, all that time, you just having fun, you enjoying life, you chilling. You don't got no worries at the time. You're a kid, you feel me? Okay, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. You kind of still got God, and you kind of cool with God, but you're not really with God, you know what I'm saying? But at that 21, 22, 23 age, or maybe even early, 19, some people just go through real life stuff. They get hit with real life situations, so they have no choice but to turn back to God. But by the time they turn back to God, they didn't even learn themselves. They weren't worried about this universe. They didn't care about this universe. So they go back to being where they were a kid. When I was a kid, I go back to these religions. My dad was a Christian. He got us baptized, all this, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying in my perspective, at 21, life hit me. I went back to being religious. I went back to trusting God and worrying about God. But as I started trusting and worrying about God, it just went back to the Bible. It just went back to real life. It just, not real life. It went back to Bible. It went back to scriptures. It went back to church. We don't really, all we know is what we've taught. You know what I'm saying? We just go back to what we taught. We don't really train ourselves is what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? We really just taught growing up, and generations is passed down from families and families and families. Like, follow this religion, trust God, and be, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. But we really don't learn ourselves and learn for ourselves and figure out about ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We're just going off of everybody else followings. We follow everybody else things. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all get what I'm saying. Let me see if I can reword this. As a kid, you go to church, your family take you to church. You stop going to church after you start growing up, 15, 16, 17, 18. You start growing up, boom. Life hit you, 20, 21, 22. Now you ain't got no choice but to turn yourself back to God. You feel me? You feel like, okay, where was I at? Where did I have God? You turn back to when you was a kid. You follow these religions. You go back to church. You start in these religions, these church rules and all that. We don't really turn to ourselves is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? We just go back to what we was taught.
Aggressive attitude, either of the king in the court where all the God so conceived is an idol and manifests the absence of faith of all those who worship him, because they have no attitude of trust. They cling on to these rules, to these conceptions, and have
and that's
no
what I'm saying. We don't go to ourselves. We go to everybody else. You know what I'm saying? What we was taught, what we know already. We don't try and know ourselves. You feel me? We worry about these outside lives, and then when real life hits you, or when the outside life hits you, we go to God, but we don't even really go to God. We go to everybody else from what we know or from what we heard. You feel me? We go to church. We go to the Bible. We don't generally go to God. We go to these other things. You know what I'm saying? Wow, that's real. We don't generally go to God. We go to the Bible. We go to church. We go to a pastor. They're going to teach us God, but we don't generally go to God. You know what I'm saying? We may pray. Yeah, we're going to pray, but the prayers are not as strong as, you know what I'm trying to say? I don't know if y'all get what I'm trying to say.
Give to life. Now, in a certain way, you might say that a good scientist has more faith than a religious person. Because a good scientist says, I want to find out what is the case. My mind is open to the truth, whatever that truth may turn out to be. I have no preconceptions. I may have some hypotheses. I may have some notions in my mind as to what the truth might be, but I'm going to test it. And the test is I will open all my senses to reality and find out what that reality is. But then again, the scientist runs into a problem, because he knows that whatever comes to him as reality
It will be his reality.
depends on the structure of his instruments and the structure of his senses, and behind the structure of his senses, the structure of his brain. And that's himself.
I just said that, gang. I just said that.
So he has to have, back of all that, an act of faith in his own brain, an act of faith in himself that his physical organism, or his mind, or whatever you want to call it, is indeed reliable and will show him reality, truth, what is. So unless
I was just saying, bro, you have to know yourself. Like, I don't know how to put this because it's so hard to put it when you're still battling the same things he's explaining. You know what I'm saying? Everything he explaining, I'm battling. You know what I'm saying? I'm battling the churches. I'm battling the religion. I'm battling the outside world. I'm not battling y'all. Let me stop saying that because I'm just going to keep speaking into existence. I'm speaking into the universe. I'm not battling the outside world. I love the outside world. It's just, I'm confused a little bit. You feel me? It just has me confused a lot. And I want to know. I want to learn. But it's all with that faith, bro. And I just want to, I am building my faith. I am.
It's a basic and primordial act of faith in yourself. And you can't ultimately check on yourself. You have to believe your senses. You have to believe your reason, your logic, your intelligence. So you have to have faith in that, even though you can't check it. I mean, it's not like your mind's a radio and you can go in and screw in a connection here and fix up another connection there, and so be quite sure. You always have to trust. And behind all that, you see, behind the brain, just as I've shown you before, behind your eyes, there's the blank space, the unknown, the unseen. And therefore one could say that the highest image of God, which is the unseen behind the eyes, the intangible and invisible, which is space, out of which come all the stars, we can say, yes, that is God. But we have no image of that. We do not know what that is.
Bro, this nigga, what are you, bro, what? This genius, I'm sorry. This genius, he is so smart because he's not telling us what to do. He's literally just giving us information. Like, he's not even telling us, like, everything he's saying is always a but right after it. You know what I'm saying? But, like, he's so smart. He's not telling you what to do. He's just giving you information for real.
Which is space, out of which come all the stars.
Cause like
we can
this whole time I'm trying to get what he's saying, but I really didn't get it to the end. Like I'm trying to get where he's getting at. The title is God Doesn't Exist the Way You Think He Does, but he's not even really telling us how God exists. He's not beating around the bush, but he kind of beating around the bush. He's not telling you what to do. He's giving his beliefs, and it's whatever you want to do with this information.
Yes, that is God. But we have no image of that. We do not know what that is. But we have to trust it. There's no alternative. There's no way out. You can't help trusting it. You've got to.
Okay, great. It sounds like it's just yourself, bro. It sounds like it's us. Because we have to trust ourselves. We literally have to trust ourselves, though. We got images of ourselves.
But you see, that trust in a God whom one cannot conceive in any way, is a far higher form of faith than fervent clinging to a God of whom you have a definite conception. And that conception can easily be wrong, and even if it's right, clinging to it would be the wrong attitude, because when you love someone very much, you shouldn't cling to them. I don't want to hug my wife so tightly that I strangle her, and mothers shouldn't love their children so much that they strangle them by smother love. It comes out in the story in the New Testament when Mary Magdalene, who loved Jesus very much, she's said to have seen him after his resurrection. And she immediately ran to cling to him. And he said, "Do not cling to me." It's translated in the King James Bible, "Do not touch me." But the Greek word, haptin, means to cling to. Don't cling to me. Don't cling to anything of the Spirit. It's just like don't cling to water, because the more you grab it, the faster it'll slip through your fingers. Don't cling to your breath. If I breathe in and hold it and say, "Oh, I got this breath now, I better hang on to it because breath is life," I'm going to go purple in the face and strangle. You have to let it go. You let your breath out. That's the act of faith, to breathe out. It'll come back. Actually, the Buddhist word nirvana means breathe out, because letting go is the fundamental attitude of faith. Now, it isn't as if Christians hadn't been aware of this. One of the most fundamental source books of Christian spirituality was written, somewhere in the 5th century, maybe the 6th century, by a Syrian monk who gave himself the name Dionysius. I've recently translated this book. It's called Theologia Mystica.
Is this book still available? What was he filming this off of? Theologia. Theologia. Oh, it's $40. $40, shorty? Not that bad. I'm about to get this. I ain't gonna lie, I'm finna get that.
Mystical theology. And you can get it from your paperback bookstore. This book is a very strange document because it explains that the highest knowledge of God is through what he calls in Greek agnosia, which means unknowing. He says,
bro, didn't I just say we know too much? We have too much. I swear it don't even be me trying to say these things. We know too much. We have too much access to too much. It puts too much thought into our mind to make us think we know these things. We don't know anything. We don't know anything. So we should just be unknowing. Why does everybody on this, you can't even tell a strong believer anything because they're not even willing to hear. They just want to go with what they know. Literally. Sometimes you gotta be unknowing, open-minded. Shut up sometimes. You feel me? Just listen.
That one knows God most profoundly and most truly in not knowing God. That means just in the same way as your sight comes out of an unseen, so when you know that you don't know, you really know. And you really know because knowing that you don't know is a state of mind in which you have let go of your efforts to grasp hold of life with your intellect.
I I ain't gonna lie, I need to hear this. I needed to bring this energy within me on the first of the month. And I feel like all of y'all need to bring this energy within you too. Sometimes we just gotta be quiet, be still, and just relax. Relax. Let go. Be at peace. And I know we can say that. I know we can try our best to be at peace, but try not to even stress God. We stress God. We stress life. We stress everything. And a lot of people stress God because things aren't even working for them. Chill. If you believe, you know everything is going to work. And I need to hear that. I need to watch this. I need to take all this in because he's a genius, man. That's my first time ever tapping into his videos, bro. Hold on, man. Let me see. I have always thought that the man-made religions are the problem. The Bible says it's the problem. If you read the Bible, you know it's a problem, bro. No, like, how do these religions know so much? You feel me? But we don't know anything. Thank you for showing an authentic version instead of AI. Alan was my replacement. Alan was my replacement father. I met him when I was 18 years old, and he kept me company through the dark times for 10 years. He is the father I want to have. Soft, gentle, patient, open-minded, intellectual, precise, and yet adventurous, and with a great sense of humor. Dang, I didn't have a dad growing up. I did till I was like 11, 12. The word of God alone is intimidating. Yeah, it is. It is. You bring a guy in a room where people don't want to hear God, or you're in this. You say if you drink it with a whole bunch of people, and you be like, y'all are tweaking, bro. God wouldn't even like this. They're gonna get, it's gonna be intimidating to them. You feel me? It's gonna put fear in their heart. I was only a child when Alan Watts passed. He passed away. R.I.P. Allen. Thank you, Allen. Bro, he's a genius. I'm so mad. I'm not even mad. I'm happy this is my first time tapping into him because now there's more life to this situation and somebody else I can react to on this page. Shout out to Allen. You just brought real life to my vision. It's for real. Thank you so much. And I hope y'all have a great, amazing day. In Jesus' name. Oh, wait. Have a great, amazing day and just be blessed. Amen.